MCC to crack whip on all political parties in India. Sources say that the poll agency is now looking to change guidelines of the MCC, or the Model Code of Conduct, as you know. One of them being asking the parties to explain how they will fulfill their poll promises going forward. Suggestions have been sought from all the parties by 19th of October. Stricter rules now on the anvil. Looks like that's going to happen for all the political parties who are contesting polls in this country. Aishwarya Paliwal, getting us the story, joins us for latest details. Aishwarya, this is a huge development coming in. Your sources indicating that the EC is now going to be cracking the whip on the political parties, and there could be a change as far as the MCC guidelines are concerned as well.
Well, definitely, Chetty, this is big news. We have been seeing how various political parties time and again have been making a lot of promises. Those promises which cannot be fulfilled. Even if the political parties make an attempt, it will have some ramifications, especially on the economy of the state. Now, all these things will have to be given in detail by the political parties. The ECI has asked all the political parties to give their suggestions by the 19th of this month. After that, they will move forward. But this is big news because a lot of parties have been promising a lot of things which they cannot fulfill. And how will they make sure that the economy of the state stays intact? Citizens like you and I are not impacted. All these things, all these clarifications now political parties will have to give. Chetty.
Absolutely. You know, we'll get you more details in terms of the exact modalities that the EC is also looking at. Aishwarya, do you have a bit of a sense in terms of your sources saying what are the exact change of the guidelines that they are mulling over? Of course, one of the ones that we mentioned is asking parties to explain how they're going to be fulfilling the poll promises, which every voter today in this country really wants answers to. But outside of this particular guideline, what are the other modalities?
Well, one of the main things that the Election Commission at the moment is looking at is that the political parties need to sit down and look at the finances. They need to look at the finances of the particular state and then take a decision on the things that can be done, on the things that cannot be done. Now, it cannot happen that a political party or any political leader goes out and promises things that cannot be done, things that are not financially viable. All those things will now have to be looked at, and the voter needs to be told. It's not just a promise that political parties can make, also how they will fulfill the promise, and will it have a impact, financial impact on the state. All those things.
Majid Memon is now joining us on the phone line for the very latest on this. Mr. Memon, do you welcome this particular move?
See, all this while in our democracy, the political parties have been taking liberties in making all kinds of promises of bringing heaven on the earth and duping the voters by inducing them to cast votes in their favor, come to power, and thereafter ignore the implementation. I think there is a need to have some discipline or some curb on making all kinds of, drawing all kinds of rosy pictures and then turning a Nelson's eye and taking.
So what you're trying to say is that already existing model code of conduct needs to be strengthened, and there needs to be stricter monitoring as far as that is concerned. Is that correct?
No, but you see, Election Commission only asking the political parties by way of a request, I think, will not work. No political party is going to be bound by that. There has to be some binding impact on the political parties with regard to the rule, regulation or law, some notification, whereby political parties should be bound either not to throw all kinds of wide promises, or if you promise something, then you have to immediately work for it once you come to power or once you are return to...
And I understand principally what you're saying, and you're absolutely correct on that front, Mr. Memon, but if you were to suggest some changes, some additions, some subtractions to the existing model code of conduct, where would you find the loopholes and what would you seek to fix?
See, I'm afraid the Election Commission will have to adopt a course by which whatever it suggests has to have some effect of binding on political parties. Otherwise, simply making this kind of a request which they have done.
So your opinion is of enforcing the existing MCC?